Welcome to Rauta. This is Jerry, and this time we have two peculiar, legendary guys with me. And this is getting a little bit complicated. Usually, when I have an artist or a couple of them here, well, they are more or less from the very given one band, and that's pretty much of it. But this time it's a little bit more than that. But let's start with introduction as always. Sir, why are you here, and who the hell are you?
My name is Taneli Jarva. I'm here because you asked me to, and I suppose it has something to do with my so-called career in making music, which has been for more than 30 years now. And yeah, I don't know, I play guitar and I sing.
That's a good way to start. And you, sir, who are you and why the hell are you here?
I'm Sami Hassinen, and I'm here because of Taneli, because I play guitar in his band, and I also sing some.
You guys have a... Okay, go on. You have quite a long history. You're not young guys, exactly. Let's start with the background. Now, obviously, you're here with the music, which is not exactly metal today. We'll touch that topic a little bit. But you also have background in various activities in artistic nature. Care to elaborate why people should know you or your background in terms of music?
Maybe it should be something to do with bands like United Underworld or Blake or Sleep of Monsters.
So quite essential names coming from the Finnish, say, alternative metal underground in a way?
Yeah, I suppose so.
And you are also known for quite a list of names and albums and all that stuff. People probably more often than not connect Taneli Jarva to Sentenced or even Impaled Nazarene.
Yeah, it's good you reminded me.
and other bands that came later on, but this time, today, you are promoting something different. We discussed before starting the recording that what is the genre of the music you are playing here today? Care to define it?
Well, I guess this Te Jarva and the Dark Place is lounge music from hell. I don't know a better way to put it.
Lounge music from hell. You play mostly acoustic. You have keyboards, which are basically, I guess, the only electronic device or instrument. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, what's the definition of acoustic anyway? We started as an acoustic duo, and now it seems that it's been turning into a whole different monster altogether, with different instrumentation and whatever. But it's definitely, it's not metal music.
And the audience is a little bit different in that sense also.
Well, we have different audiences. I mean, from my perspective, we can bring this shit show to any place, any kind of event, to any kind of audience, and it will resonate all the same.
What is interesting, when I was watching your gig, and I was wondering, because this particular venue in question is often, home to a lot of metal and rock bands, and of course that's when the audience is, there to just watching bands, whether it's headbanging or all kind of things, and there you are, sitting on chairs, playing a very emotional music.
As one does.
And how different, this is what my question is, how different does it feel to you playing this kind of acoustic guitar, singing, sitting down, and playing it very emotional ways rather than your typical metal explorations?
Well, it's the polar opposite. How can I put it bluntly? It's like sitting naked there, without the decibels, without the distortion, without the growling, shouting vocals. It's just it's just a whole different ballgame. We've been doing this now for 5 years, and the first gigs, the first events where we played, were just plain terrifying. But I mean, without the backup of this massive wall of sound, it just, especially if you perform acoustic, it's just you and the instrument.
Yeah, it's very naked.
It's
especially
naked.
with in-ear monitor system.
Yeah, today is the first time trying the goddamn monitors. I'm used to the music coming from the real monitor, and now I have the shit in my ear. So
yeah, it's like
but
technologies.
It's the future. Beware future. I am coming. We are coming.
So,
But hey, one thing I want to add here. The last time we played here in Turku, 1.5 years ago, it was a country festival. So it's, like I said, you can put us anywhere and it's all bets are off.
and you will be still comfortable.
Yeah, weddings, funerals, whatever.
So because you also have rock and metal background, and of course, like Taneli said, it's very different playing, standing up and maybe giving a little bit of a body movement in a way, not exactly, moshing your hair because we're a bunch of bald guys, but in your words, how different mindset you have to kind of dive in order to, enjoy it the same or similar ways than, playing music where you're like, going on with the guitars and whatever.
I don't think there's much difference.
Like, do you have to get into certain, emotional state versus, whatever you're doing with the heavier music? Or is it just like music, all the same, different instruments?
It's difficult.
I think when you get into that zone, you need to block everything else out and be in the moment and lay down on the foundation of the band.
Now, what I also want to know, how did you decide that you want to play this kind of music as opposed to the so-called heavier bands more in the past or present? Like, what made you do it? Like, okay, this time we're gonna play lounge music and screw the distorted guitars and all.
Well, I just felt the need to strip it to the bare bones. I guess I was in that kind of place in my life where I felt I kind of needed to explore these avenues. I've been a fan of artists like, obviously Nick Cave, Mark Lanegan, Leonard Cohen, Tom Waits, Neil Young, Warren Zevon. This kind of music, very stripped down and more laid back kind of music. I've been a fan of this like undefinable non-genre of music for a long time. And eventually I knew that at some point I want to explore this. I want to try it myself, but I just felt that I wasn't up to the game before this. So 5 years ago, I just picked up the guitar from the wall, which have been mainly a decorative element for years, the acoustic guitar. And I picked it up and I wrote a song. Next day I wrote another, and then Sami joined me and saw potential in this like simple one-man demos that I sent to him, that let's do something together. And that's how it grew.
These kind of side ventures, as opposed to like young man's metal band and rock bands, tend to be more like, I'll try to put it in a neutral way, but it seem to be more like an old guy's project. Like, before I die, I just need to do something else. Do you feel this has something to do with the age and experience? Or
well, I'm not like planning to kicking the proverbial bucket anytime soon, but I felt that at this point in life, when I'm in, I feel that I have some substance. I have something to say in that regard. If I'd done this when I was 35 or 40 or whatever, I wouldn't have been ready to. I wouldn't have my voice to sing this kind of stuff. And now's the time, and it's another side project. This is my main project. This is me. Well, it's got my name on it, and here's the dark place.
So why did you have to be the dark place guy if he's the name honcho? Are you the darker aspect here?
Yeah, sure.
A lot of people, you also like consider you as a vocalist rather than guitar player. Some even would say, no, Taneli Jarva is a bass player. But of course, things change and people learn new skills and go beyond places they never explored before. What is your main instrument according to you? If you had to pick
Well,
one.
honestly, I feel it's my voice is the main instrument. And I mean, it's always been, but yeah, actually, this is the first and only band that I've ever played guitar in it, and acoustic guitar. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess they remember me as a bass player from the early days.
Exactly.
Because as I started out, but I had an 18-year gap that I didn't play bass at all. I was just a plain singer, and then I got rid of I got fed up with with just being the guy swinging the microphone and stuff, and I felt that I need to return to bass playing, and thus Poison Whiskey happened, my other band, and from there on it felt kind of natural to strip it down to the acoustic. I don't know, it's just an instrument. I might play the accordion or whatever if that's what it takes for the next.
Now I see a pattern here, knowing you for a long time, 30 plus years or whatever. I mean, whether we're talking about Sentenced or now that you mentioned Poison Whiskey or Taneli Jarva Dark Places, I mean, there's this kind of a Finnish melancholic vibe, despite that the outcome is quite different. I mean, Poison Whiskey, of course, it's kind of a Motorheadish in a way, and kind of like okay.
Hardly melancholic.
Yeah, but I mean, there's certain kind of maybe not as such, but in a way that a lot of blues music, for instance, could be. Like if you're like a little bit scrapped down.
Well, it's a downer vibe, somewhat downer sort of person.
Yeah,
so it's
that's what I mean. So what we're getting into it now. Do you think that's something that you cannot really escape from? Is it always like a mandatory piece in a puzzle known as Taneli Jarva?
Well, the music that I do is comes from
The inside.
From the inside. It's that's me, whatever it might be. There's different facets to this puzzle, but it always has to come from the heart. I mean, I've done some stuff that didn't come exactly from the heart, and it's always a kind of cringy moment when I hear a song or
like an awkward thing in a way.
It's like just it feels wrong. So what I've learned, if I've learned anything in my years doing this, that you got to be absolutely honest with what you do, what you put out, because otherwise it's going to bite you in the ass.
That's very true in very many bases. What about you? Could you imagine like writing a jolly music, like happy-go-lucky kind of stuff which makes you smile? Because we're not that dark people, but when we start making music,
well, Sami is happy. Happy. What's the term?
Yeah, I also compose other stuff, and my latest big work was Ronja Ryövärin tytär music for National Theatre of Finland.
Wow, so that's big.
So there was some jolly melodies there.
Well,
I was about to bring that up because it's. I mean, that's sad.
But that goes like beyond the hobby project, so to speak. In a way.
Oh yeah, I get money from it.
Yeah, exactly. It's profession.
Yeah. So that would be it. That would be.
So like defining the line here, what I guess I mean with your other bands and such is like, could you imagine yourself like, okay, I'm gonna explore this territory just for my own sake and fun, without getting paid? Or when you do music for your own bands, is it always going to be something, if not dark necessarily, kind of a bleak, or something that territory?
No. I'm composing whatever comes. It always comes from somewhere. I'm just a satellite between that.
Yeah, and I mean, if you take a song like this, our Dark Place song, our first single, Venus is High. It's not really. It's moody, but it's kind of has a kind of positive vibe. I think. I still don't know what the hell this song is about, but it's in a sense it's kind of melancholy, but it's a positive darkness. It's not a hopeless darkness. I think well we have some of that too for obvious reasons, but
and that song came we were having a couple drinks with Taneli and
Yeah, before you quit.
yeah, and I bumped my head and there was like 7 stitches or whatever.
Yeah, this guy was.
That was more than a bump.
Yeah, and next morning I woke up in a hospital and Taneli was there. All right, you decided to wake up. Oh yeah, what happened? I'm going home now. But I went home too, and
You tested your brain. That is your brain and your fingers still collaborating.
Can I still like compose a song? And I did, and that's Venus is High.
Exactly, and this was a pivotal or defining moment in this band's existence, because it was the eve of when the COVID hit Finland. We had a gig at the National Theatre, and well, as one does, we had some drinks, and then the next thing you know, this guy was fucking. He was like face down with his skull split open and blood everywhere, and I called the ambulance, and it got a turn for the worst. We should have skipped the karaoke at that night, I think. But one hell of a good song and one hell of a good story came out of it.
Well, definitely. This is like, I think, to the camera, I have to mention where Norway people died and bled because of stabbing. In Finnish ways, you drink until you bump your head. So kids learn to drink, especially if you're challenged by men like him.
No, it was the karaoke. I blamed the karaoke for everything. But it was
talking about drinking, once upon a time, this was decades ago. I remember reading one interview by you where you mentioned something like that you write lyrics when drunk, and if they like make sense the next morning, they're good to go. Is this something that you could really like say today, or was it more like a thing of the past?
It's my modus operandi. I mean,
that's how you work.
Sometimes I work sober as well, but usually when I get the free-flowing thinking, it's after a couple of drinks. Because
it opens the gates.
I don't. Well, everything in moderation, right? I don't get shit-faced and look at the scribbles next morning. I don't do that anymore.
But that happened back in the days.
Yeah, of course. Isn't that the
Finnish way?
Well, isn't that the way you do that? I don't know. It's the only way I knew.
That's what I wanted to pick you about this project. How much have your lyrical writing methods or skills changed throughout the decades with various bands?
A lot. I mean, generally speaking, the lyrics, they do have to fit the kind of music you are doing, right? So I wouldn't exactly like to put any death metal lyrics on the music that I'm doing at the moment. Sometimes, at some points in my career, I wanted to dumb it down, like really make it like as simple as possible, like the lowest common denominator kind of like stuff. But I grew tired of that quite quickly, and I also got some critique about dumbing my text down, my writing down. So I guess nyt katkesi ajatus. Yeah, katkesi ajatus.
It's okay, let's go on. You're also known as a tattoo artist, and you have quite a few on yourself. What's the story behind this all? When did you figure out, okay, you just need to explore other art besides music and writing?
Well, tattooing was a thing that I felt always obsessed about it as long as I remember. At least from when I was 16 or something, I just wanted badly to get a tattoo, but my parents didn't want to give me the permission, and I was a kind of a good boy at that time, so I just waited until I was 18, and when I got my first one done, then I got the second one. You know how it goes. It's
addictive.
It's addictive, but I just felt that this is something that I really would like to do, because I was always into drawing, and I was the guy who draws, you know.
Scribbles and always pen and paper.
And when I was younger, I drew up these logos, obviously for my own bands, you mentioned earlier, and some other bands. my best work is the Beherit logo. I think still I was 17 when I did that.
That's a great logo.
Yeah,
Still,
I couldn't do it anymore. But anyways, this like the drawing thing was, or this like technical kind of drawing thing was something that I figured that I could use in my life at some point. And tattooing, it just came to me from the passion that it was. I didn't plan it to be like a livelihood for me because honestly, in the late 90s, early 2000s, it didn't really
get into mainstream.
feel like it wasn't really that mainstream, at least here in Finland. So it was quite a far-fetched idea to actually make a living out of it. But things happen, and here I am.
And music and tattoos work so well together. It's like two worlds making love to each other. And
wow, absolutely.
You're also
I feel comfortable.
You're also a little bit of a celebrity because of that. Not only because of the music thing, but also in the tattoo sense. I mean, I have plenty of friends who have been like, "Hey, I'm going to Jarva and take a tattoo and all that stuff." Do you ever have to ponder yourself like, am I a celebrity, or do I even want to be, or is it just like mandatory evil you have to carry around?
I don't know where your data comes from. What are your sources?
I cannot reveal them, or they will.
I really don't. I don't feel comfortable with this aspect because I don't really think it's true. You should see the celebrity tattooers. They are a breed of their own. I don't want to
take them to many levels.
I don't mingle with that crowd. So.
Now, turning to you once again, because you mentioned that you do composing for living, and it's very different, of course, this kind of music. How much did you know about when you were a younger person that you would end up doing, well, music more or less for money also, not besides just like hobby projects, if you will? Like, was it always like right there before your eyes? I'm gonna write music.
Yeah. It was.
Yeah, was it a career choice that you had at an early age already?
Yeah, it was.
When did you know that you're gonna write music?
I'm gonna write music, but
for real.
But I'm a sound engineer as well, so my bread has come from rock music almost all my life. So
yeah, it's one hell of a sound engineer.
What is your proudest moment? Like any favorite pet project, like this album or this project or whatever, like this is the one I want to be remembered for when I die?
Of course, it's Dark Place.
But outside
outside of it.
You cannot use this one as an excuse because we're doing this interview. So mention like something that makes you still tingle when you think about it.
Must be Sleep of Monsters' first album, I guess.
Why so? Is it because of the first album, or is there something?
Yeah, there was a lot of going on before that, but it was like breaking point from doing music for others. It was mainly for myself and my friends. So that must be something.
Do you ever get to feel like these so-called virgin moments in this age anymore, like this is something that happens the first time and feels so like the album goes first and magical?
Every time I pick up the guitar and something magical comes up.
So there is always still
it happens all the time.
It's the marvel of picking up the guitar. I think I should try that again.
Yeah, that's wonderful. This is something that kids or even younger people in the audience should like think like why people make music when they get older, never get bored and all that stuff. Before we start wrapping things up, something that I want to dig from the past since we've already been going back and forth. Are you still, because I mean you have lots of bands and of course you know a lot of people around the Finnish metal scene and beyond, of course other countries as well. How close to you are of those guys you had those bands back in the early 90s versus nowadays when things are more, I don't know, global, bigger and all that stuff? Or how much things have changed, like some things are in the past and not so much present?
Well, I mean, I am still in contact with every now and then with most of the people that I played with in the past. I didn't have any serious falling out with anybody in illustrious career. So yeah, cannot say that we hang around with but it's always a pleasure to call these people. I share my music with my friends.
The question is because I am thinking that lots of bands have, making reunions and sometimes even old kind of a lineup things like we are gonna feature this and
Not
that.
happening.
This is what I wanted to
Not
ask.
happening.
You're not one of those guys.
Well, I'm not one of those guys, but those guys are not those guys either. So there's no chance in hell.
Because now there will be some guy from, I don't know, Brazil or whatever part of the world. Please come to Brazil. Could you play steel bass in Impaled Nazarene? And all,
no, we can
like
come
that.
with the Dark Place to Brazil. So if there's like anybody organizing this, it's
Exactly.
no problem. But we might chip in. We want to put in one Impaled Nazarene song in the setlist if you pay for all the bills.
That's an excellent idea.
So no worries there.
All right. Before I let you go, one annoying question. If you got to choose one song that you would say you should start with this, and now you cannot mention the Venus song because it's already mentioned. Start listening to this band with song called what?
Calamity.
Why?
It has everything that Dark Place has. It's really dark song.
Like a kind of a peak moment in a way,
Well, it was the first.
or a
song,
low point. I don't know.
It was the first song that was a song that I wrote on Christmas Day, 2018, when I picked that acoustic guitar from the wall, and it just flowed through me. Here it is.
You click with that. All right. What would be your choice now that these two are crossed over?
I think Golden Girl is.
Why?
Well, it's got everything.
It gets even the girl. No, seriously.
No, I think it's about the lounge thing that I said. That's obviously it's a joke. It's hardly lounge music. But the thing is, this is the Dark Place. It's not country. It's not Americana. We've got them Finnish, aren't we? It's not folk.
Finishana.
It's not blues, but having said that, I think Golden Girl has elements from all of these styles and all of the influences that I mentioned earlier. And for that reason, for me, performing that song, I always feel it's uplifting, and I feel that it's in the flow, it's in the stream of music. You cannot categorize it. What the hell it is? Well, what is this style? I don't know. I have no explanation for that. But I think for me, it's got the elements that I love in this kind of more mellow kind of old guy music.
I love those two elements as well. I love gold, and I love girls.
And if you combine those two, you also get a TV series from the 80s. But if you go down the rabbit hole and make some more research, you might find something else altogether. And on this bombshell.
All right. Now, second to last question is, this goes both for you guys. What happens in the next few years for the band? Play a little bit of a foreteller or seer or whatever.
Well, this is easy. On 2nd of February, the debut album will be finally out. We've been working on this thing for ages. Like literally, it was recorded, the basic tracks in two years ago. And so it's been a labor of love, and finally we can give it to the people and let it out of our hands. And after that, some gigs, some nice places, some cool people, and we start right away demoing the new stuff, because that's what it's all about. Never stop creating.
So where you will be in 2029?
In Brazil.
All right, that's a very good answer. And now, because you have such good answers, what would be your word to the wise, either to your younger version or the younger audience right there? Like, if you're gonna write music, if you're gonna do a sound engineer work or whatever, you should, what exactly? Give your best advice.
Stay true. Don't fuck up. And if you
That's
fuck
good.
up,
Don't fuck up.
and if you fuck up, get up again and do it again.
Very good advice. What about you, sir? What's your best advice to the
To
audience?
the younger guy, to the dude, to douche that played in Impaled and Sentence, I would say that, listen, kiddo, don't be an asshole. Be a nice guy.
It all will work itself out. All right, thank you guys. Thank you so much. Kiitos, kiitos. Thank you for your time. Now, I need you people out there to do your homework. You will find links provided in the description box for the band's, well, social media websites and all that stuff. So use your magical skills, type those names in your browser or phone or whatever and start listening to this music, and when you get the chance, go to see them live. It's gonna be something else. With these words, I wish you a happy evening or day or whatever. Don't get too much into the dark places, but just enough.
Everything in moderation.
Everything in moderation. Thank you and good night. Hyvä, kiitos. Nyt otetaan kuvat ennen kuin häippäsette. Mä nappaan mikit talteen. Taas tuli ihan hyvä, mun mielestä ainakin.
Slapstickia.